What a Wild Spirit Brings by Lil, Chapter 60. Ondel, sensing Lil's sadness and trying to distract her, started telling her a story from Ongar history, how the giants had long ago not lived in the swamps, but in a fantastic forest, with trees tall as mountains and tree houses in them for the giants to dwell in as their homes. Lil thought the story was all fantasy and only half listened, until Ondel said something about the tongues having once been that forest. Wait, what? Yes, little brave one. The great storm destroyed our homes and took the tops of the trees with gales of water and much lightning. We lost many lives in that storm. The trees, they all became petrified, and it still grieves us to return there and see the skeleton of what was once a mighty, thriving, living forest. Lil knew she was staring at the Onger's cheek in disbelief, but he was too huge to know that. The wailing tongues were once a forest, the tall, slender mountains once massive trees. Lil's mind boggled for days trying to imagine. They met the Entha troop in the swamps a few days later, Blaxian at first relieved to see Lil, and then furious at Lil for entering the tongues, and then, hearing more of the story, amazed, and finally nodding her head in approval. My grandmother was right about you. I should never have doubted. This is a huge moment. We must return you to the seat of Try. Lil just smiled and let it all happen, the shaking the pinky finger of each Unger, formally and wishing them allies in water, before the Entha all swept her away with them south. She paid none of them any mind. She missed Gimph. She missed having someone to talk to. All of the guards bore the seat of Try as their clan marks, and all spoke with each other as if she were some sort of aloof queen. Some eyed her as if wondering if they were worthy to marry such a queen. The Entha had little concern about nudity, and the man, once realizing she had been Greenlander-born, started flaunting that fact, hoping to get blushes from her. She just ignored them all, even Blaxian, who was suddenly fretting about like a wet nurse over her every need. Lil was surrounded by people again, and yet again felt alone. She had done the right thing. She at least knew everything would be all right. She would do as promised, and return to Andrus, return to Yedem and her brother. She would talk to the seat of Try via her surrogate third seat in the Wilder, and learn to rule in the ways of her people. But she had to fulfill her promise, and she hoped so much that Gimph would be true to her own, that she and Lil would meet again. Once back to the seat of Try, she wanted to leave right away, but the three seats insisted she yet again tell the story of what happened, and yet again that she declined to take her own seat. She was encouraged to remain there at least a few days, to learn some more of hand-folding and things to help her heal spirits in the Wilder, and avoid danger from them. It was all useful, but none of it interested her beyond that. Her mind was filled with a single purpose. Everything else felt like fruitless distraction. She had completed what she had come to do. She had finished, or at least in her mind she had. But Blaxian in the seat of Try thought otherwise. It felt constrictive, but she kept giving in and staying a few more days, and then a few more, letting them convince her that she really did need more training, and should know more customs, Patrixian in the night, and lessons in the day. It all felt pointless, even though practical. And so finally, after almost a month had passed, knowing she would not be fulfilling her letters that she had written if she didn't leave, she came before the Try from the back entry and told them she was leaving now, and would be going to be with her brother, as honor demanded. They all looked saddened, but accepted it. She walked out, shoulders back. Suddenly, outside, the light from the sun felt warm and soothing. She had been inside the Wild One training grounds in a dark cave so long that it felt bright and lovely. She stood, arms out, palms up, absorbing the heat of the early morning sun like a flower, feeling it soothe out the strain of abiding by other people's demands instead of the passion in her own heart. She was content. She was finally free again. She loved the Entha and the Wild Ones and even the Try, but she had to be free. She had to be herself. She belonged elsewhere. She opened her eyes as the sun began to become glaring, and her arms tired from being outstretched, and found Gimph standing in front of her, just watching. Lil was shocked only for a moment before she dashed forward, colliding with her friend, arms about her neck, laughing. Gimph breathed deeply as she returned the embrace. Lil stood back enough to remain hugging her friend, but look at her as well. What are you doing here? Oh, it is so good to see you. I cannot believe you are here. I was about to leave. If you had come tomorrow, you would have missed me. Gimph smiled through all Lil's hyper-excitement, and Lil slowly realized the woman looked travel-worn and was covered almost head to toes in a layer of dust. She pulled her friend into the back door of the dome, where the seat judged, to the room with the table, and poured Gimph some water. The Haldani drank the cup dry, and Lil poured just another. But Gimph did not drink the second cup. Now that the joy of being reunited with her friend had calmed a little, Lil asked again, more seriously, "Why are you here, Gimph?" There was a long, searching pause before Gimph answered.